Welcome to panel. You're watching Journey with us, and today we want to ask you, what is the return on investment when you visit and move to Africa? For us, we're in Tanzania, so what's the return on investment of us being in Tanzania for almost 3 years? These are questions that you need to think about as you consider moving abroad and as you see all the craziness going on across the globe. What is your expected return on investment? What are the goals that you want to achieve in the country that you choose? And then, if you go to a specific country, how do you know it's the right one for you? What do you do if you're like, I want to go somewhere else? We are
Yes, guys, welcome, welcome. What she said. Yeah, when you guys enter the room, make sure you like. But this is gonna be a quick live, guys. So we're gonna wait a couple seconds, a couple minutes to see who's gonna be on here.
when you come in the room, let us know where you currently are and where you plan on going in Africa.
Yeah, first, can you guys hear us? Okay. Put a 7 in the room if you can hear us. Okay. Cause it's like connecting, reconnecting, reconnecting. So if you're in here, please just know if you can hear us.
I don't think we need it. I think it's fine as long as we talk loud. So you want to get started?
Yep.
So what would you say is our return on investment of being in Tanzania? Why have we chosen to stay in Tanzania and not go other places?
Um,
Well, for me specifically, I recognize the return on investment of being here is that it's way cheaper than most African countries, because that's something you have to look at. Countries like Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, even like Sierra Leone. I was looking at different things online. Although some of these countries may have easier visa processes, what you'll end up having to pay more for down the line is your cost of living. Big time. Like Tanzania, Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, these are all very cheap countries that you can move to and live on literally $1,000 to $2,000 per month. Which, if you have a large family, we have a family of five. So the cost of living is extremely important to us. I mean, well, I said a family of five. We have a family of six, seven. I'm back in 2020 when we were leaving. Look, y'all, I'm 3 years behind. That's crazy. So that's like number one. That was one of our top things when we were choosing an African country to move to. It's even cheaper than Ethiopia here, from what I can tell. And then on top of that, we live in a small town. So the small town we live in is obviously cheaper than Dar es Salaam, like the main city. So that's number one. That's something you should definitely look at, especially since we're in a global famine. Hopefully, you're thinking about investing in a business, acquiring land, stuff like that. So that means you're going to have resources, and you're going to have to use the resources. So look at the cost of living in these countries. Pick out your top 5 countries that you want to move to in Africa, narrow it down to 3 countries, and then figure out which of these countries has the better cost of living. Next is safety and peace. We have 4 children, almost 5 children, and so safety and peace is up there. Like, that's another one that's top notch, top of the line. Tanzania has not had any civil wars, so that's definitely a plus, because a lot of African countries are manipulated and used by the US to do these different proxy wars and all this stuff, and so you'll have a lot of fighting, especially in like Central Africa, even certain nations in West Africa. And so you just want to be aware of which country is peaceful, because that is the biggest return on investment you can get. And the return on investment isn't always physical money. It's also the lifestyle you want to live. Obviously, you want to live somewhere that's peaceful, somewhere that has a low cost of living. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Peace. You know, you always got to seek peace. You always got to seek safety, and back. So, resources. How can this person help me? This person that's been here all their life. What kind of resources can they show me? What kind of skills and talents do they have to help me? Um, move around here like a local. So like a local African. Um, so that's what really goes in my head. You really got to trust the people that you connect with, because that's where it's headed. That's where it's really headed. You have to be aware of what's going on in these times, um, because the two sticks are coming back together. That's what I that's what I always say to locals that know me. I say two sticks. What kind of resources do you have? What kind of skills and talents do you have where we can trade skills and talents? And that's going to help us in the long run instead of thinking about, oh, give me money, you give me money. No, let's and bring these two sticks back together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
So
good one.
resources is very, very important.
And then even when you're talking about resources, there's actually a lot of resources like raw materials in
Mm-hmm.
Tanzania. Tanzania is the, I think, number 4 producer of gold. And so the list goes on and on. What else? I think cobalt is mined in this region. Then obviously they have like the pipeline projects they're doing. And then Tanzania specifically is like on a port.
Yeah,
And so, or it has multiple ports and it has access to 7 different countries. So, regardless of where you go in Africa, when you first arrive in Africa, you are going to have to do a visa run unless you have citizenship in a specific African country. 9 times out of 10, though, you're going to have to do a visa run. And so you also need to be thinking about how easy is it for me to get out of this country if I have to and then come back in. And then how big is the country? Tanzania is huge. We knew that we wanted to be in a large country because we like to travel without necessarily having to cross borders all the time. Like we like to go on adventures. And so we can literally go travel for 20 hours and still be in Tanzania by car. So you need to map out and write down what your goals are when coming to Africa. For us, it stayed the same consistently throughout the last 3 years, and it probably will continue to. We knew we wanted to adventure and travel, like we wanted to go somewhere with interesting sights. We also want to go somewhere that was peaceful. We want to go somewhere with a cheap cost of living. What else?
peace and safety.
Yeah,
That's the main thing, and resources. Like really,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because the resources you have from Babylon are actually really good if you can go somewhere that has like a 50% or lower cost of living than Babylon. But if you're going somewhere where the cost of living is similar to America or just under what America used to be, like maybe the rates are what America was 3 to 5 years ago, then you're really doing yourself a disservice because when you come to Africa, like there's not, or at least in Tanzania, you cannot expect to get a job. Don't expect that.
Yeah.
Those are very far, like beyond far and few. You may be able to go to like Rwanda and teach English. We've had people do that before in our best-selling e-course Dream Life Africa. You may be able to do that in Egypt. You may be able to do that in Ethiopia. But for the most part, when you come to Africa, you want to come with the mindset of being an entrepreneur. You want to come with the mindset of helping to bridge the gap so that our skills can be can grow on the continent with the locals so that they can learn from us so that they can also do business better so that they can have better customer service so that Africa can grow as a whole. Because when you just come here and you're like, okay, I'm just going to, volunteer for 20 years and do all these things, this doesn't grow the economy. And that's why Africa's economy in general is so, I don't want to say bad.
Greed.
It's just it's in a manipulated situation right now.
Yeah. Yeah, we just ran across a video today that was talking about some good information about Africa and how it started and just everything. But they're looking for entrepreneurs. They're looking for, even people here on the continent, Africans. Um, there's a lot of entrepreneurs. There's a lot of business owners too.
Yeah.
So if you're coming over here thinking that you're gonna work, you know, that's not gonna. I mean, obviously you're gonna work because you gotta
You're
make
gonna
money.
work in your
Yeah, you're gonna
business.
work in your business. Put it like that. You gotta come over here with a mindset of being a boss, not a boss, a leader. You guys know what I'm trying to say, but you gotta come over here with that mindset because that's what our people really need here, is to, show them how to move and keep moving because they would move one way and think that's it, and they're comfortable with that. You
Yeah.
know, I remember our last video, convenience is not the way. You gotta keep moving. How can I put it? Don't take the easy way out.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
There's no reward, or it's a little
exactly.
reward.
You gotta have a challenge with everything, because that's just growth. So come over here, ready to grow, ready to um, be a leader.
And they have so many different like business forums and different networking events here in Tanzania, then across Tanzania as well, in Kenya and Ethiopia, these different places in East Africa. Obviously West Africa has them too. I just saw one. I think it's the next one's in Namibia. But they have all of these events, and they're literally like that video we were watching, but we're gonna do a video on that later. They're literally just waiting for the diaspora to come back home, because what happens throughout history whenever the African diaspora is taken from a place and put in chains and put their whenever the diaspora is taken from a place, the captors use the strategies the diaspora has to build flourishing countries. This has happened ever since Egypt. In every captivity the African diaspora has gone in, they have strategically taken the people that know how to get things done.
The people. Yeah, I like how you said
Yep. The Bantu people that know how to get things done. The ones that are doing the structures, the systems, the ones that have these mindsets to strategize. And it's just amazing right now to be alive and see all of the African diaspora coming home, even the ones that don't necessarily know like biblical truth. They're still coming, and they're still starting businesses, and they're still trying to connect with the locals and do all of the things that prophecy says that we would be doing in the last days.
exactly. Really.
Across the entire continent. People in Ghana, people going, South Africa, Namibia, the African diaspora just going everywhere. And then you also have the African presidents on the eastern side, so far from what I've seen. Well,
Mm.
that lady, she's the head of the African Union in Ethiopia,
Yeah.
but they're even waking up more than the year of return, more than let's do this marketing initiative. They're actually saying no one has called you home in 400 years.
Yeah.
No one has sat down and strategized in 400 years. You've been wanting to come home. You've been wanting to, our people have been trying to get home for a while,
Yeah.
since Marcus Garvey's time, and it didn't work. It's because it just wasn't the right time.
Yeah, they're definitely waking up and just wanting us to come back, um, because the leaders here they're getting tired of um, going to other countries like Europe, America, France, things like that to I guess have like an outreach, but we don't see the Chinese, the Europeans, and them reaching out to other nations. They build amongst themselves. So Africans, the people here in Africa, they're trying to reach out to the diaspora that's spread around the world to come back and really hold down Africa.
Yep. So that, and then you also need to know when you're thinking about the return on investment of you being here, not necessarily physical money, but the return on the lifestyle you want to live being here, what your goals are, what you want to do. For us, and you can say how you feel, because you say you want to come to Africa since you were a child.
Yeah,
But you
I've
have
been.
to want to be in Africa. Like, you have to be committed. You have to literally want to join
Hey,
with your cousins
you guys start eating that rice and beans
before you get here.
at least like 6 months before.
Even if it's from a different country. Look, I was making the I don't even know what they call it over there. I was
Yeah.
making all this Ghanaian food, and then we realized we weren't going to Ghana. But we were committed because we knew we were getting to Africa. We didn't know it was going to be East Africa.
For real, we was in that mind. Oh man, look, don't quote me on this, but
Don't you
but
ever
he's like,
say?
I ain't gonna put salt or pepper on this,
No, I put
cause
salt and pepper.
I'm
I'm
just
not
gonna eat
eating
it.
nothing without
Like,
no
hey,
salt and pepper.
they really might not have salt and pepper.
Damn it, you!
Okay,
That's
man,
not.
it's rice and beans.
I'm
It's
so
food.
tired of you.
This is food. I'm gonna eat it. So you really got for real. You gotta be in that mindset. I'm just telling you guys
Oh
about the mindset
gosh. Okay.
that was in like in my head. You get what I'm saying? Like it's like dang, you know. I didn't know until we got here.
Oh man, you're funny.
But Africa, it's been good. It's been awesome. It's been wonderful. It's been peaceful, joyful. Just all the above. All praises to the Most High. Really, all praises.
And once you leave America,
Mm.
if you do things right and you plan and strategize right, you won't have to go back. You probably won't want to go back. I personally never want to return to
Ah,
America.
man, we see a lot of stuff on the internet. The other day I saw it was somebody driving down the road, and it was the sun setting on this side, and then another sun setting on the other side, and they like, what? It's two suns. It's two suns. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like over here in Africa, we don't like we see the sun rise this way, and it sets that way. So we know. And I'm looking at these videos like, man, how is this even possible? Like, what what do people think? Like, what's going on? Like, it's really like a matrix. Like,
It
it's really
is.
like it's like a game. I really don't know how to explain it.
It's like an experiment. It's
Yeah,
like
like
a
it's
social
weird.
experiment.
It's very weird.
But
Like
you won't know that till you leave.
exactly, you will not know that until you get out of there and realize that's the only place really like that. America, I'm talking about. I'm not sure about anywhere else because that's where we're from is America. So it's getting crazy. It's really getting crazy. And all we're trying to do is help you guys, you know, get prepared because this time is coming where I don't know what to say.
You need to
I
be
think I know.
focused. You, like, seriously, y'all need to be focused more so than we were 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, you really need to focus and figure out what your goal is when you move to Africa, and work that goal, and don't slow down. Whatever you do, don't slow down.
Yeah.
Because when you slow down, things on the continent already work very slow.
Yeah.
So that's going to slow you down regardless. Then, on top of that, if you don't have your momentum and you don't have tunnel vision with the mission that you're called to do and what you're supposed to be doing here in Africa, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So stay focused.
Yeah. Here's is real like real. I'm not explaining like real life, like everyday life, like where you have to figure stuff out, especially like if you really like are close with local people here. This is their everyday life, and they need to survive every day, every week, every month. So it's a different type of vibe here. It's a different type of motivation. It's a different type of understanding from everybody around. So it's peaceful. Like she said, it's slow, but at the same time, it's good because everybody know like, oh well, like there's really no worries, no worries. It get done.
Yeah, they're in their homeland. I don't think we were allowed to have that kind of peace being in America because it's not our homeland.
Yeah.
Like you can't sit on your captor's soil and feel like yes, this is home. That's just not. At least I didn't feel like that because that's not my home. What do you think of that?
Soil, huh? Never mind.
What did you about to say about the soil?
This soil is very nice here. You know, it fertilizes itself. Just the everyday life that I was talking about. So
It really does.
yeah,
Like literally. That's why we having like 5 children now. We ain't prepared for that. Look, and stuff gonna happen that you ain't prepared for.
yeah. What
But
else?
it'll be all right. You'll figure it out.
But yeah, welcome, welcome to Africa. Welcome to Tanzania. Please come, guys. We are waiting on you. We are trying to give you the knowledge, the understanding, the the wisdom to come.
What questions do you guys have about moving to Africa? Someone said I would love to visit Rwanda, Ghana, or Kenya, leaning more towards Rwanda, but I don't want to go to a country where the where they possibly will force you if that comes around. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I've known a few people that have gone to Rwanda and then ended up coming to Tanzania. Then one ended up going from Rwanda to Tanzania, then to Ghana. So really just depends on what you want out of life, what you want out of the country, where you're meant to be.
Yeah, really. Africa, and like it, Africa itself is just it's different. It's different. So I believe anywhere in Africa is going to be a little bit different from
Way different.
America, from Europe, from anywhere. Africa is Africa. If you really think about black people, really think about black people. Africa is Africa.
It's us everywhere.
Yeah.
How is living in Tanzania for a single person? I would say super easy, but that may be because we have a family of 7. I mean, I imagine it would be much easier.
Right? I can't even think like look, we like single. It just depends on your income. If you got a nice income coming in, you could probably live off what $500 a month,
Yeah,
like literally,
yeah.
and
You
probably
definitely
even
could
less.
if it was just you.
Probably
Yeah.
even less. Like
Yeah.
$500 a month for
And
everything.
you could invest in land.
For everything.
Yeah.
For food, groceries, rent, like depending on your house and stuff like that. A single person, yeah, you'd probably have a nice Tanzanian life.
Yep. Hallelujah. Now is Israel's time to return. It really is. Shalom. How many white people live in Tonga? More than Dar es Salaam.
Yes,
I'll tell you that.
Where do you see that at? Oh, it does.
I don't know. You could look up how many white people live in Tanzania.
You gotta know the history too behind Tonga. Go ahead, babe. Tell them the history.
Oh, y'all want a history lesson? So if y'all didn't know, I like to research history. So we have Nika, okay? Tonga is the land, the Nika is the mountains. I hope I got that right. One of those is the land, one of those is the mountains. But so when the colonizers came,
What colonizers?
well, you had the Arabs first over down in Kilwa.
In Tonga.
Well, I gotta tell the whole story. You can't just skip the story. Yeah. So down in Kilwa, okay, this was like Swahili Coast capital. There was this rich sultan who would sell slaves from the Congo, and he would get them from this area in Tanzania called Kigoma and another area called Tabora. So the Portuguese That was back in the 1200s, 1300s. Then the Portuguese came in like the 1500s, right? And so they're close to the Dutch, you know, all the European nations, they're all close together. Once one of them gets their foot in the door, the others start coming, right? And so they start buying slaves. And one of the main areas that they came to first was Tonga. And so that was the Dutch and the Germans, because this was during World War One, where Germany thought they were going to win the war. So they were like, ooh, Tonga's beautiful. Tanzania is beautiful. It's the Swahili coast. Let's go here and establish our capital. But they lost the war, so they didn't get to establish their capital. And basically, Tonga turned into like this ghost city where just it's a small town where some people are and not a lot. Yeah, Tonga was supposed to be the capital of Tanzania if Germany won the war. But they didn't win the war. So now it goes back to who it's supposed to be going back to.
Yeah. So it is a lot of descendants from World War One here.
More than Dar.
Yeah. Because
Probably not more than Arusha, though.
It's small. So
from what I hear, Arusha has more.
It's like everywhere you go, you see these, like, we've been seeing a lot of them. But look, you gotta let them know. You gotta let them know what time it is.
But I think a lot of people don't realize is that even though the Black diaspora has not been coming to Africa, your counterparts over in Europe, they've been coming to Africa. Oh yes, they've been coming to Namibia buying up beachfront property. Obviously they're in South Africa, they're over in Ghana, they're in Sierra Leone. You got these people, just because we haven't been coming back here doesn't mean time stopped. When we went into slavery, nah, when we were gone, they were like, oh, they're gone. Let's go ahead and get our feet in the ground.
Really? Come vacation, come build. Who said that?
Somebody said praying to be there soon. I'm sure you will. Yeah, Tanzania is very cheap for one person. I want to come later this year to look for land and build. Will a month be okay to look for land and build? I don't know. It took us 3 months to find our land.
Yeah, you really gotta travel and see.
Partially because we knew we wanted mountain land, but yeah, and we also, like, when you have discernment, you can discern, like, am I supposed to be over here? Am I supposed to be over there? And so we didn't go with anything until it felt 100% right. So I hope y'all enjoyed the history lesson. Y'all should really look at the history of the countries that you want to go to, like that, like seriously, so you understand the dynamics and what's going on.
Like really.
So that when you see different folks, or when you see certain things, or when you see just the culture and traditions, you're like, okay, I understand. Because you know, Google's right there. That's all you gotta do. Or you can talk to a local.
Google's there until it's not.
And they'll tell you what they know. A lot of times they won't always know, though. You'd have to go to like an elder or somebody that really, really, really knows.
Yeah.
Do you guys think the Most High is calling Israel back to all of Africa, or only certain places? I think all of sub-Saharan Africa. All of sub-Saharan Africa. But then within that, I think certain people.
Sorry, guys.
Any other questions about Africa or Tanzania? Oh, one thing I wanted to add when you're thinking about moving to Africa, Tanzania is one of the only countries, if not the only country in Africa, that allows a multiple entry visa for a year. And so that means that you wouldn't have to repay for the visa every time you go back in. So think about that when you're looking at different countries. Because I know like Kenya, South Africa, Zambia, because we went to Zambia, all of those, once the visa expires 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you literally, it's not just, oh, I'm going to re-enter. No, you have to pay for it all over again. So if you have a family of 5, that's $500 if the visa is $100. Versus if you do a country with a multiple entry visa like Tanzania, I want to say there's one more, but I forget what it is. But if you do one that has a year-long or a multiple year-long multi-entry visa, then you won't pay as much even though you have to leave.
But then can you say free visa or something?
Yeah, recently, but you know, once you say it, it's not done.
What else?
They have to put in legislation.
Is it Zimbabwe or something? Is that Zimbabwe?
Uganda?
That's free.
No, they're not free. Visa free means you can get in for 30 days for free, but then you'll have to renew it and pay. Or it might be visa free for like 60 to 90 days, but then you'll have to pay. Zambia, it might be Zambia. It's Tanzania, and then there's another one that has a multiple entry, and it was longer. It was like 3 to 5 years, but it was only for business. I forget what it was.
I think it was Zimbabwe.
It was Zimbabwe? No, it wasn't. It was.
Maybe because he just been lost for
Was he? Not Uganda. I don't know what it was. There's so many of them, y'all. There's 54 countries. It's Zambia. Maybe it is Zambia. But Zambia is a nice option too. Zambia has a very low cost of living. It's landlocked. It's gorgeous. It's a little bit chillier than the coast, but. What about shipping in Tanzania? I'm a designer and I have a lot of materials, so I have no other. It will take so many suitcases. If I were you, I would consider maybe staying on the west side of Africa because they have a much easier time shipping stuff than East Africa. Now, East Africa, it's doable. We know people that have shipping businesses, like they have products here, then they export them, but it's far and few. If your business is dependent on that, I may consider starting in West Africa.
Any last questions?
My friend just moved to Zambia. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. How do they like it? Somebody said, how is Mbweni? Mbweni's beautiful. We almost thought about moving there, but we're in Tonga. Mbweni for us is too close to Dar, but it's gorgeous. They have the nicest houses. It's calm and slow. It's a great place. And they're doing a lot of building out there. There's a few diaspora that live out there, actually. It's a good place. You said I want to talk about what?
Dreamland.
I was gonna, no. We send greetings to you all as we also deal with our health and age. That's why we choose Rwanda. We are up in age and not able to work, so we have to consider these options. Okay. Rwanda. That's cool. Does Rwanda have a retirement visa? Land investment prices. Tanzania, anywhere in Africa, it drastically low to high. If you're going to the main city, like in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, it's going to be way more expensive than Tonga. It's going to be way more expensive than Mbeya. It's going to be way more expensive than Iringa. All these countries. So anytime you're looking for land and you're looking in a capital city, understand that it's going to be more expensive. When I say more expensive, it could be anywhere from $800 for an acre upwards of a couple thousand for an acre, versus out here in Tonga, land is around what, $150 for an acre to $800 for an acre. It really depends. But then you have areas like this place called Pangani, where like colonizers have come and bought up all the land and they only sell for like thousands of dollars, and so those are insane prices. So it really depends on the area. I would be focused on the fertility of the land, what tribes are in the area and what their traditions are, whether or not there's colonizers in the area. We went to look at this piece of land, and it was just, we didn't hear good things about it because some colonizers were doing weird things in the area, so we went the opposite direction. But that's the good thing about Africa. There's a lot of space. Kenya now has a lifetime visa. Oh, I think it will be in effect by the year's end. That's awesome. Kenya is going to be, I think most people are going to end up going to Kenya just because of that. And you don't even have to just stay in Nairobi. You can explore Kenya. Kenya is another big country where you can just explore. How's the cabin coming along? It's wonderful. We're pausing right now for maternity leave since I'm 9 months pregnant. But I can't wait to go back up there. It's been so long since I've been there. I keep looking at pictures of being in the mountains, and I'm like, I gotta get back. That's my homeland. The mountains. Because it's like a rainforest. It's a whole vibe. But the roof is on. We just need to do some finishing touches and then work on the interior. I'm feeling Kenya for my children. That's cool. In Kenya, they speak Swahili. We have not been told about the option of retirement while we are bringing businesses that we provide jobs and income. Oh, okay. I thought Rwanda had a retirement visa. I may be wrong though. You could check their immigration website. But I thought they did. Will Tanzania participate in the East African visa? What's the latest news on that? I haven't heard anything new about an East African visa. From what I've seen, the East African community and the African Free Trade Agreement have like visas and passport things in the works, but it's not for years and years to come. Y'all gonna see this about Africa. They're gonna tell you they're gonna do something, it's gonna take years and years to come because everything in Africa is pole, slow. But it's okay, don't freak out. You should still come. Just understand we're not on white folks' time. Hi, sister. Oh, that's somebody else. True, that was shipping, but Tanzania shipping is hit or miss. Yeah, that's why I'm like, Tanzania, if you have to depend on shipping, it's really like, I don't know, maybe.
Gotta have some money.
Yeah. And really, yeah, just, yeah. Kenya may be easier. I know, like, their business landscape is a little bit better. We're here in Botswana. Some diaspora has shipped here with these. I recommend selling all you can and come with less. Definitely. How's Botswana? You don't hear much about Botswana, so I assume it's very peaceful. Yeah, Tanzania shipping, it's literally works out for some people it doesn't. Most people it doesn't.
Well, they just traded the port over to Dubai.
Who had it before then?
The
Indians.
So
Definitely pack light. Because you, first of all, when you flying across the world, you don't want to carry all that stuff. Especially if you have children. But even if you're single, you don't want to carry all that stuff because you're alone.
Backpack it.
We ran through the airport with our suitcases because we almost missed the flight. Can you imagine running through the entire airport with suitcases and toddlers? Just sell everything.
Toddlers, we had one
toddler. When they in the airport, they all toddlers. You gotta watch them because you don't want them to get lost. Categorize them all. They all toddlers. Oh my gosh. Yeah, packing light makes life easy. And you know, when you're traveling across the world, you want to make life easy. The top ways to do that, you know, pack light, have some revenue coming in, and know what you want to do once you hit the ground in Africa. boom, and then do it. Stay focused, because there will be a lot of distractions just because things are so new here, and you're like, oh, Africa, it's paradise. I want to go sail on a boat all day, or I want to go visit Zanzibar forever, and then I want to go do this, and then I want to go do that, and then before you know it, a year passed, and you're like, I didn't get anything done. Don't do that. Don't be like that. That happens to a lot of people. Or you're doing too many networks and meetups, and you really have to focus and know, okay, what do I need to get done, and then what action steps do I need to take to accomplish that in 3, 6, and 12 months. Schooling in Tanzania is good. I was surprised because we used to homeschool, and then we started looking into schools. They learn so much Tanzanian history. They're learning so much about the Arab slave trade. Our fifth grader right now, he's learning a lot about that. He got
What do they say
92%
about
in
art
his social
slave
studies
trade?
class. What about it?
What do they tell them? They didn't tell you that.
He told me one of the students said that, but not the teachers. That's not what they teach.
I swear, because Saeed was saying the same thing. That's what they was teaching.
No, because I looked at the book myself. They teach about the Arab slave trade and a little bit about the transatlantic. Over on the east coast of Africa, they're going to focus on the Arab slave trade, which most of us didn't even know about. I didn't know about the Arab slave trade. I only knew about the transatlantic one, and the Arab slave trade started in the 1100s, 1200s, and had been going on all this time, and then just Europeans decided to come in and do it too. So there's a lot of interesting history, and they go deeper into it than you would get in America. Because I remember being in school in America, it'd be like one paragraph, Africans were slaves that came over, and then they built stuff on plantations. Nah, this class, they tell them like what actually happened, like some gruesome. I was shocked at the stuff that our fifth grader knows about the Arab slave trade. Then they're really heavy on geography here too, so he knows a lot about geography. Writing, they write pretty good. I would say, me as a writer, I'm gonna say I think y'all should be doing better with the grammar, but that's just the writer in me. That would be my only complaint about schooling. But other than that, the school they go to is good, but they go to a private school, so I'm not sure if they all teach like that. I don't know. They go to a private school. I've been hearing a lot about Kenya. Nothing bad, all good things. Ghana might be my best bet. Yeah, Kenya, I've heard a lot of good things about Kenya too. I wouldn't mind visiting. We're just a few hours from Kenya. I hear Kenya is very gorgeous as well. But then, I gotta get to Ethiopia as well. I just gotta hit them all up. Like if I'm in Kenya, I can't go to Kenya without visiting Ethiopia. Then if I'm over there, it's like I might as well go see Somalia. Then that'll be the end. We love Botswana. Oh, that's awesome. Wow, their first dual citizenship. That's awesome. That's cool. I hear Botswana is the least corrupt of all African countries as far as like government corruption and bribes. That's what I've heard. But I think we're going to wrap this video up if you have not already, or if you're looking to travel to Africa, be it Kenya, Zambia, anywhere in East Africa, anywhere in West Africa, anywhere in South Africa, and you need travel guidance and tips before you make the move and strategies to make it as effective as possible, check out Dream Life Africa, which is our best-selling e-course that we created 2 years ago. And then if you need business assistance with setting up your business, marketing your business, and establishing a strong presence here as a service provider and consultant, then go ahead and check out Multiply Your Talents. What about the schooling options? Are they costly? If you had to choose, where would you attend? Dar es Salaam was more expensive than here. but everything in Dar is more expensive than here because we live in a small town. What we pay now for school is for 3 children, private school. You better at this than me.
1.2. So that's like 500
Per semester,
per
per
semester.
6 months,
Per
or
semester.
per 3 months. We pay $500 every 3 months for all 3 of our children to go to a private school. So that's 500 if there's 3 semesters. Are there 3 or 4 semesters in a?
So
I'm
two
not doing all the
semesters.
math, y'all.
Two
Y'all can do the math.
semesters.
That's $1,000 a year. That's that. There you go. It's very affordable. Dar es Salaam was a bit more expensive.
But that was a nice school though.
This one's nicer, especially from what the kids say.
I'm saying like just the activities and stuff they was doing at St. Joseph.
Your children don't think so. They said they like this one better. They like the principal more. The website is at the link in the description. Our books are on Amazon. So Wake Up Jacob. Just type in Wake Up Jacob by Eliana on Amazon. Then we also have a travel book. Maybe I'll drop that in the description too. Do you have to have residency status to take the children to school? Yes. Or it needs to be filed and you have to be working, like you have to have some type of documentation. And most of the time when you have children in Tanzania specifically, I don't know if it's like that with Kenya, though, they will want to see that they're in school and see that they have the student visa, just to make sure like everything's like good. That's what we learned along the way. How you do that? You might not leave Ethiopia after you visit. You know, I thought about that. I've been saying that. They'd be like, dang, she done moved to Ethiopia. Oh gosh, look, can I do like 6 months in Ethiopia, 6 months in Tanzania? I think that would work out. It should work pretty good. That's excellent to hear about schools in Tanzania. Newsflash from a queen, there was no trading of slaves, but an actual war. We lost more prisoners of war. Yeah, Tanzania had lots of trading of slaves all over the Swahili coast. That was one of the main commodities. Is it better to stay in Dar until you get residency than move to another region?
Depends on person.
Not necessarily. As long as
It'll probably be faster and better. I don't know.
I don't think it'd be fast. Dar's not fast.
Alright, you good?
Because they have an immigration place up here in Tonga that you could go to. I'm sure they have them in Mbeya, Ringa, Arusha. I don't think it matters as long as there's immigration in that city. As long as you're not like out in the desert village or something like 30 miles away from immigration. Why are you laughing?
Just like to talk.
Oh gosh. They say Ethiopians are everywhere like Nigerians. Oh gosh, you're funny. You know what? I haven't met that many Nigerians. I worked with one Nigerian in my life, and I worked with a Cameroonian and a Ghanaian, and somebody from Zimbabwe. I had never met Tanzanians until coming to Tanzania. But I had met Ethiopian. And a lot of Somalians, because Columbus has a lot of Somalians.
Why you so funny?
That's just the
Alright, come on, let's iPad.
the history of Columbus, Ohio. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to get off here. Check out the links in the description. I will add the other links to the books that we have in the description. And share this. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Share this with somebody that wants to move to Africa. Or share this with somebody that you think should be convinced to move to Africa. because we specialize in convincing folks to move to Africa.
So, guys, good night.
Shalom.
Peace. Hallelujah.